When I say we are in control, what I'm saying is we are the consolidation of this understanding, the building of this understanding. And what I'm arguing is that we have enough understanding now to have the realization to understand what we need to do, how we need to live, what we need not to do. We certainly can know that. We can certainly know where the stop signs are and the traps are, like religion. And we can avoid them and stop falling into them. And so that's what I'm arguing is, and that happens through our ability to inspire understanding in other people, to help make them realize, to see the trap, to see the mistakes, to see the errors in our understanding. And so then we get on to culture. Culture has really nothing to do with knowledge. Culture has to do with that other half of the brain, that subjective want, need part. Okay, that's not built out of logic. It's not built out of anything. It's built out of, that's the bacteria. That's the part nature built. That's the part that isn't have that logical mechanism guiding its evolution. It just has this stupid survival of the fittest mechanism, this natural selection mechanism. And that desire has perverted the culture. That passion has perverted the culture. It's perverted intelligence in most cases. Most human beings aren't having this conversation because most human beings are using what intelligence they have to scheme to satisfy their needs, to scheme to figure out how to make a more perfect Big Mac or whatever it is they're after to satisfy their desire. And that's the focus of their intelligence, because they don't have a better understanding, because they haven't been inspired to think of more important things than satisfying their own desire. And that's the flaw of culture, all right? But don't confuse culture with knowledge or intelligence, because there's nothing necessarily connecting those two things. Certainly one culture can be more elegant than another culture because the individuals in that culture recognize the need to be, but there's no necessity of it. And I would say that our culture is primarily dominated by a lowest common denominator that doesn't have much use for high intelligence, that is living with a brain that's scheming for their own passions, that is selfishness and greed. And I put God in that same category, because that's what is the God delusion that has left mankind incapable of seeing himself for what he is and dealing with it. Because that's why we're not dealing with it. It's because we have a fantasy, a lie that people have injected into their intelligence, that they have corrupted it with this cultural lie, built out of ignorance and mush, and it's disabled that logical process. It's broken the tornado to build anything bigger out of, because you can't build much on lies, not much of value. And sometimes those lies just make us more capable of being destructive rather than productive. And certainly natural selection defines productivity as how many babies you produce, how you spread like a bacteria. Obviously an intelligent mind might come up with a different definition of productivity. It might be more concerned with the qualitative aspects of a life rather than the quantitative. And so I just don't see any point in trying to say that all these things are combined, because they're not. Intelligence is not being guided by natural selection. It's evolving on its own, at least our knowledge base. Certainly popular opinion has tried to influence it, okay, but it's always broken that wall down. All right, there was resistance, when somebody said there's a round earth and not a flat earth, there was resistance. But the resistance eventually fell. And the truth does win in the end, because we do have a rational brain. At least that's its intent. And the delusions can only be maintained as long as there's enough doubt for them to be maintained. And I guess that's partly why you irritate me, is because you keep advocating for a doubt. You keep advocating for a circumstance that excuses us from accepting reality. And so that's why I am so passionately displeased with the philosophy you are attempting to inspire other people to understand and believe. So I think that's enough said. I think that explains your problems with my last video, and so let me know what you think.